All right. Well,
Let
let's get started with
Roddy Rod start first.
introductions here. So I'm Andrew Rewrod. That's I've been in the podcast before. And yeah, so I like to stream on Twitch, play video games. I got quite a few games that I play, and yeah, I love retro games. So I have like a feel for retro with my podcast or with my Twitch channel. So yeah, one of you guys want to take it away?
Can
I'm
you hear me?
Jared. Oh yeah, I can hear you.
Yep.
Great.
Yeah, we can hear you.
So I'm Jared, Ghost. I used to go by Deldrin for a long time, but I decided to change my name after like 20 years this week. So it's kind of weird for me, but I'm a warehouse manager, IRL. So I help manage like a 90,000 square foot warehouse. Very demanding. We deal in small electronics, and we're a top eBay seller. So we essentially take goods from that are returns from customers and refurbish them and resell. Um, I am an RPG nerd, so I like ARPGs, RPGs. I played WoW for 18 years. I just quit, thankfully. It's amazing that other games exist. But I've been playing a lot of Diablo. I'm excited for Diablo 4, and Destiny 2. Been playing a lot of that as well.
Okay, Sticky, go ahead.
I'm John. I go by Sticky. Long story on that. I won't get into that yet. I my daytime job is a mechanic. I also own a computer repair and building company as well. I build custom computers and fix electronics, guitars, phones, laptops, all kinds of stuff. I've been doing that for about 4 or 5 years as a businessman, but I've been doing it since I was a little kid, for as hobbies. Video games wise, I don't really have a preference. I just play what my friends play because it gives me something to do when I don't have anything to do. But I'm very big into all new tech stuff, learning about how things are working. It's crazy to see how much stuff has changed in the past even 10 years in all of the graphics cards, CPUs, all of the motherboard, RAM, just to think how much faster things have come. And I've always enjoyed it. I will end it off there. Give it over to Mr. Kevin.
Hey, how's it going? Yeah, my name is Kevin Sanders, 41-year-old guy, born in
40-year young.
41 years young. Uh, Born in Woodstock, New Brunswick, Canada. I grew up in Indiana. Yeah, I did a bunch of IT in college, then decided I would go into modeling and animation. Then went down to Orlando, Florida to get to further my education in modeling animation. Then went up to Toronto for my first real gig, and then moved out to California 2 years later. And yeah, I found my first job in the gaming industry, and I've worked there for like 4.5 years. Married my dream girl at church, and we'll be married 3 years in May. In a couple days, and that's it's a very compressed version.
Well, congratulations first and foremost.
Thank you so
And
much.
so you kind of gave a little bit of a brief introduction of what you do. So do you want to kind of hit more on some of the projects that you've worked on? Some of the big ticket items that people have probably seen?
Yeah. Um, so some of the stuff that like our company has worked on. Um, So, we've got a handful of so we help other companies. We do the cinematics for video games, and we help other companies complete their cinematics. Or if they need help on games, they come to us. So we get like a broad smattering of different clients and people. But man, we've let me see, we've done we do Fortnite, Call of Duty, uh, done 2 different Mortal Kombats. We did the Hogwarts Legacy. That's one of our latest. We've done Tomb Raider. We've done um, uh, just a lot of kind of big name like that. We also um, we do some smaller games, some smaller indie games, but mainly it's like it takes a couple years to complete a game. So we've only had, I don't know, I've been there 4 or 5 years. So there's only been like a couple solid games we put out. Yeah.
Well, that's pretty cool. I've purchased Hogwarts Legacy. I have not had the chance to play it yet, but I'm really excited to check it out.
I've heard good reviews. Like I looked at all the cinematics, like as I was working through them, and I was like, I feel like it's an amazing game, but there's no surprises. Like if I bought it and played it, and I'm just like, I know everything that's going to happen, so it kind of ruins the fun.
Yeah, I would do that. My wife is a huge Harry Potter fan, so she's anxiously awaiting it to come out on Switch,
Mm.
which I think is like July, like June or July. So I told her I wouldn't play it before her.
Probably good idea. Spoilers.
Well,
So what else?
What made? I'd like to ask a few questions. Let me pull
yeah,
them
go
up real
for it.
quick. So I wanted to know. We did a little stalking on you. I want to. I want to be honest.
Safe
Yeah.
stalking.
So you safe stalking, yes.
Mhm.
So on LinkedIn, it said that you worked for the Hoosiers Communications. What did you do there?
So there, I got hired right out of high school. We did cabling. So it's not like the whole cable guy, welcome to your door, Comcast. It's like we did cabling for businesses. So we did like data and voice cabling. It's like, but we'd install like hundreds of them at the same time. So it's like we never did houses. It was more like fresh installs on new buildings. And I love that job. I did, for 12 or 13, I think it's 12 years. And while I was doing that, I was going to school, working on figuring out my IT, and then also after that, doing 3D modeling and animation. So it's like the entire time I was working there, I was still going to school.
What really brought you into the like visual effects, animation, and all that stuff? Like, what caught your attention?
Actually, I started out in IT, um, and then facts. I realized I had brain cancer, and so that changed everything in life. And I decided to go for something that I loved, which was like I loved watching behind the scenes in movies, um, and I just wanted to be a part of that. So then I went back to school to get my modeling and animation degree.
That's
That's a,
actually
a
pretty
heavy thing
sick.
to
That's
drop.
actually pretty amazing. Are you
Thanks.
cancer free now?
I am. Yep.
How long have you been?
Next month on the 8th, I will be 15 years cancer free.
Yeah, man.
Which that kind of leads us into another point here. I might be skipping around a little bit just because I don't want to be like I don't want to. We have a itinerary that we wanted to kind of follow, but it's just we're gonna bounce around. It's fine.
Love it.
Do you want to kind of explain the Hope Ride and kind of what that is?
Yeah. So the Hope Ride is um, it's basically So I do this every 5 years. So after I went through all my cancer stuff, the first 5 years are like really important to a cancer person because like at 5 years when you're cancer free, um, as time goes on, there's less and less of a chance of it coming back. So I did like this is called the Hope Ride 2. So I did the Hope Ride 1 10 years ago just to show like I did 1,300 miles on a bicycle ride. Went from Bar Harbor, Maine back to Fort Wayne, Indiana to show that there's hope after cancer. And then 10 years cancer free. I went to New Zealand and I hiked 40 days, backpacked for 40 days to show there's hope after cancer. And then this actually I leave this Saturday, going to the very top of California. I'm gonna pedal all the way down to the Mexico border. That's almost 1,300 miles to keep showing that there's hope after cancer. And yeah, so I've got sponsors and a website, and yeah.
So how?
That's a long.
I mean,
that's a long pedal.
it is.
Yes.
I personally, I know because I found your social media, your profiles, and I know how to support you. But how somebody just walking in, how can they support you in the Hope Ride? You know, throughout the journey.
So I have my website is called thehoperide2.com, the number 2. And I'm on Instagram and Facebook at the Hope Ride 2. If you want to donate to my journey, you can. As soon as you plop on my site, you'll see how to donate. And it takes you to a GoFundMe site. Yeah, basically it's going to be probably maybe $50 a day. I'm kind of expecting to be pedaling along. It's like food and possible campground. So any donations would be greatly approved, received,
Appreciate
welcomed.
it.
Yes, as part of the cancer there. Trouble with words. But also like anything above and beyond my expenses will go to the Livestrong Foundation, as I've been wearing this for the past 15 years.
That's incredible. So, speaking on that, like, how does that interact your day to day? I know you said the trouble with words.
Mhm.
Does it creep in like in your professional career as you design and things like that? Like, what are some of the struggles with that?
So after I got out of surgery, they took out the chunk like right here. It was like the size of a tennis ball, and I could only say 3 words at a time because they took out. I could think every word that I wanted to say, but there's that filter there. There's like a piece that enables your brain to speak it, and so that chunk was missing, and so I could only say 3 words at a time, and it's gotten much better since then, but it's like I can still think everything I want to say, and it's extremely frustrating when I can't find the right words. But also I have like a 15% of a normal person's short-term memory, so I have to write everything down. Or if you give me 3 things, if you throw a 4th thing at me, it drops out of the bucket and they all go away. And so it's like I have to write everything down. And I am people, unless I tell you, people don't really notice, like, because I seem to have a very good memory, but without my phone, I am nothing. Besides that, the only things I have from brain surgery is like, it's like my memory, um, my long-term memory is much more visual. I can't remember names, numbers, and dates very well, and I have to repeat. If you don't have a short-term memory, you have to repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat until it goes into long-term memory. So those are fun everyday things, but I feel like I've generally worked around them. Except if I get frustrated, I can't find the right words even more.
I would say so. You're pretty successful. So,
Thank you, appreciate
pretty
that.
inspiring to everybody, I think, to hear that. You know, the hardest thing you can think of possible that could
Mhm.
hold you back. You know, it's amazing what the human mind can do. It's a powerful thing.
Definitely.
I appreciate you kind of breaking that down.
Yeah. there's any more details you want me to go into, I have many.
What's been your biggest challenge with everything for what you do for a living?
Basically learning. Like, I love learning. I have like a little sticky note on my computer that says never stop learning. Um, it's like when you're stagnant, um, like you just turn like a water that doesn't move, it just turns gross. And um, repeat the question again. I lost it.
With what you do for a living, what has been your biggest challenge?
Oh, that's definitely part of learning, is like I'm very hard on myself. So when I can't get something, um, I'm very hard on myself to the point where like I get upset with myself that I can't learn. So I'm harder on myself than most people, but that actually in turn forces me to learn it, because it's more like, I don't know, put like there's kind of anger and emotion behind it. It's probably not the best way to do it, but like if I can't get something, I I just hone in on it, and I have to get this thing before I move on. It's like, and that causes me to be good at everything, but it takes a lot more work than most people.
Okay, what about
So,
go ahead, Sticky.
uh, well, I have. I mean, back to the. I guess this is going back to the visual effects. So, if you're sticking with for sticking with that stuff, I can go with that because I didn't look. I didn't know any of this stuff that you're talking about. It's like you having the brain tumor, going through all this, and then not knowing the stuff, which I find that's pretty dang amazing. It's amazing. I can. This has nothing to do with brain tumor, but my neighbor that where my ex-wife lives, their her neighbor, he was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. I don't remember which exactly, but he was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer 4 years ago and said he had 6 months to live, and he's still alive. And I talked to him for about an hour because I went over to pick up my daughter, and my ex wasn't home yet. So I
Mhm.
went over there and I chatted with him for a little bit because he needed some help because there was a pipe underneath his house that busted. So I told him I'd take a look at it for him and see what he had to do to fix it. But when I was talking to him, I asked him, when you found out you had cancer, what changed in your life? And he said he was grateful for all the people and all the things that people have done for him. And he nowadays he takes every day like it's his last, and he just wants to make sure that he's happy, and that's what he's done because I've known him before he had cancer, and he wasn't a very nice guy. Like, he was always grumpy and
Yeah.
mean. But ever since he's had cancer, he's always been he's always had a positive state of mind ever since then, because he knows that when it's his time, it's his time, and
Right.
he expresses that a lot, and I just find that amazing that people, even though they're sick, they're going through all this stuff, going through treatments, surgeries. For instance, yours being, you said tennis ball size, that's huge,
Yeah.
and it's amazing to see that they still keep a positive mindset and still keep moving forward, which is one of my favorite sayings is keep moving forward, because if you don't keep moving forward, you're never going to move forward, you're just going to keep falling back. So I just love that. It's amazing.
Yeah. I say that, no offense to those people who haven't had cancer, but I think anyone who has gone through cancer, uh, we're the lucky ones, um, because like we come out the other side, and there's two choices you can make. Either you can choose to be like really grateful and thankful and have like a positive attitude, or like some people who get cancer, like their life is over, and then they're stressed and anxiety, like it's literal poison to your body, and it lowers your immune system. So it's like there's a story about someone who got diagnosed with cancer. It wasn't correct, but they didn't realize it. And then she was like, she just got horribly sad and depressed and then sick. And then she ended up dying. And then they realized that it wasn't, that it was misdiagnosis. And like, it just shows the power of your mind. And it's just how it's just so crazy that it's like, I think honestly, brain cancer is one of the best things that's ever happened to me in life, because like you said, um, every day I don't take for granted. And it's just like, it kind of opens your eyes when you realize that you face death and you're like, there's nothing else. Everyone else around you is like worried about these little tiny dumb things. And it's like the only thing you want is to be better. Like all this stuff doesn't matter. So it really focuses on what's important.
Okay.
Yeah,
I see.
I
Sorry to
think we
cut you
all
off.
kind of get lost. Go
I
ahead.
see I see Fernando's in here. So Fernando, if you would like to join, you should have the permissions to join the stage here as well. He was going to be one of the other hosts who's going to be in and out of the podcast. Anyway, Jared, if you'd like to continue.
That's all right. I'm a Kevin. I don't know if you've heard of the term, but like a 1%er. Like I try to get 1% better
Yeah, yes.
every day.
Yep.
So I'm a big learner like you are, so I could only imagine like having that wall constantly, in my way. And I preach that at work too. So to all the guys and the gals in the warehouse is just 1% every day.
Yep.
And eventually you get somewhere. It's like, sometimes you got to spin the tires in the mud
Yep.
for a little while, but you eventually catch that rock and you start going. So
As long as
that's
you don't,
just, go ahead.
I was gonna say, as long as you don't quit, you just keep, whether it's, 0.2%, you're still going. The only way you can fail is if you quit.
Mm-hmm. Yep. There's actually I got that 1% mindset from, there was a podcast where a guy took a bicycle team in France, from like the worst team in the world, basically, to winning the Tour de France. And his whole mindset was 1% better every day. So they started by making the bus look nice. Like the tour bus, when they got the tour bus, it was all ran down and everything was torn down. The seats were all torn up. And his first step was, we're going to clean the bus. And then from there, it just progressed and progressed and progressed. And then they won the Tour de France. I think it took them like 2 or 3 years.
I think I've
But
heard that story before. And it's
Mhm.
like, it was like, I know, like cleaning their bikes or doing these little things. And it's like,
Yep.
eventually it just, you look back and you're like, all those things turn into one really big thing.
I'm sure that's, if I had to guess, that's probably how you progressed in your career to where you are
Yeah,
now. So
definitely. You are correct.
So what's been your favorite project to work on? Movies, shows, anything that you've worked on? What's been your favorite?
It's probably some of the gaming stuff I've done. Like, there's an IMDb out there, and I think I got like 60 or 26 credits, and like most of them are in, most of them are in like big blockbuster movies. But it's like coming out to gaming. I guess what's bad about being in the movie industry is when I was up in Toronto for 2 years was my first gig into the industry. Um, like I had no idea what I was doing. Everyone's just so excited to be working on movies. But after like, um, I don't know, I worked on Star Wars, and you're getting paid $20 an hour Canadian, which is $17, like roughly $17 US. You realize like we are severely underpaid, and like we're the visual effects artists are the only people that don't have unions. So it was like 2 years of like, oh yeah, you know about your weekend? No, we're gonna have you work. And it's like it was like 50 to 70 hours almost every week. And like working on Disney movies, it had such tight security. You had to scan in 2 times into the building, and then the building didn't have windows. And it was like getting there before sunrise and leaving after sunset. So movies, they're just like, we'll replace you because everyone wants to work on movies. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna leave now. So working on video games has been a lot better because they take longer, and generally, or at my company, we don't have a lot of crunch time. Crunch is just like where you have to put in 50 to 80 hours a week, but generally, crunch is only a couple months. But at my company, we don't have to do actually much crunch at all. But one of the favorite things I've worked on is basically some of the editing stuff. So I started off at Frame Machine and I created the editorial department. And I created the cinematics or some of the what are those called? Our company demo reels or company cinematics reels for their website. So it's basically just chopping up games and adding music and transitions. So I really love video editing and cinematics editing.
I gotta say, one of my favorite things though was the first time watching one of the movies that you've worked on and
Mhm.
seeing your name scroll on the big screen. I'm just like watching for it. I'm like, I know him,
Yeah,
and I was just super excited about it, seeing your name up
yeah,
there for the first time ever. So it was pretty cool.
yeah. Like it's an amazing thing. And it's like people fight to get their names. Like everyone in the movies at companies, the credits are as long as the score is, the music. And so it's like the more your company puts in as far as work, the more names they get. So at our company, it was just kind of random. You'd show up at the movie theater and you're like, I didn't make it. And it's like some people like, and there was like a Harry Potter movie that came out, and this lady, um, she worked on it. She couldn't wait to be in the credits, and she was like a manager or something. And it's like she didn't get in the credits, and she cried and cried. But yeah, it's like when you see your name in the credits, it's a big deal. But then after that, it's like, well, it's amazing. You feel like a celebrity, but you don't get paid more.
Is that a salaried position usually?
No,
Like, so those overtime hours, you get paid for that?
yes, actually you do. So it's like overtime after 50 hours in Canada, 40 hours in the
Oh,
US. Um, but there's times when you're working 60, 70 hours a week, and it's like you're there from like 6 a.m. till 3 a.m. And it's like at that point, it's just crazy to say, but like money doesn't even matter at that point. You just want to go home and you want to go to bed. So yeah, you make good money, but you have zero life.
I've been there before. You make so much money and you work so much that you can't even enjoy it.
Right,
That's
exactly.
how it was at my last factory job that I worked at. I made more than enough money to survive. It was just the fact that I didn't have time for my kid. I didn't have time
Mhm.
for being at home, doing things I wanted to do, and it's draining. It's very draining.
Yeah, it ends up being pretty bad. Like I don't care if I'm working on Star Wars. I don't care if I'm making $1,000 an hour. It's just like I don't want to do this anymore.
Fair.
So, if you can discuss it, is there any projects that you're currently working on right now?
Um, right now, no. Like interestingly enough, not coincidentally, they furloughed me for the past Frame Machine furloughed me for the past 3 months, and right before this call, I got off the phone with the owner of the company, and after this bike ride, he wants to have me back, and so it's like interesting timing the Lord has there. I was just like, in my 5 years I've worked there, he furloughs me the 3 months before this. There's no reason, but like they didn't have enough work for people. They fired a lot of people and furloughed a couple, but they had no reason to ever ask me to come back. Like, all right, we'll keep you on insurance until after May for your bike ride, but who knows after that? So after I just got off that call, and he said, yeah, once you get back, once you relax, we've got work for you. And I was like, blessing. But no, if I do not do, I wish I had more time. Like I'm not an animator, so I don't have outside projects that I work on. If anything, I take video editing gigs, um, just to uh, I take a look at them, and if I have enough time, then I'll do those. But like a lot of animators put a lot of time into outside projects, and I should be doing that, but I don't.
Oh, that's awesome that they I know we kind of talked, but these guys hadn't heard that yet, but that you know, you're being asked back to the company, or that you still have that position. So that's pretty cool. I
Yeah,
look forward to seeing more projects that you work on here and there on your Facebook when you post them, when you're allowed to post them.
yeah. Like as of right now, he's telling me what we're going to be working on. Um, yeah, I'll just, yeah,
Leave it at
we'll
that.
talk
That's
about
fine. That's fair.
it. Yeah,
That's why I started the question with if you're allowed to tell, because I figured, you know, there's probably some, you know, non-disclosures that you have to abide by. So
yeah. There's a couple games that coming out I'm pretty excited about.
I think this is actually one of Jared's questions. Um, are you a Harry Potter fan, and what house would the hat put you
Um, so I've seen all the movies, but I haven't read the books or gotten so much in depth that I know which house I'm a part of. I know a lot of people do. Sadly, I do not. Uh, I mean, the game turned out to be a very cool open world game. I just haven't got into it. I love movies and I love the visual effects in them though.
What did you seen on your portfolio? You had Black Panther on there.
Hmm.
What did you work on in that movie?
So we did like I was a filing artist, and so it's at the very end of the line. I worked for a 3D company, so we change 2D movies to 3D movies. So I was a filing artist, so anything that is messed up throughout the pipeline comes all the way down to us, and it's like we don't have time to send it back. So at the very end, we're always in crunch because people at the beginning like, oh, we got plenty of time. At the end, they're like, go 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 go. We don't care. Um, but so at the very end of the pipeline, we have to fix all the other people's errors. So like having we had a 2D screen and a 3D screen, and I had to wear 3D glasses all day, and you have to go into 3D and like fix things. But there was a lot of different shots in those movies that you would have to like comp things on top of each other. Like comping is like adding layers and putting them together, or in 3D, it's like
Was it like the CGI stuff or
yeah. So it's like some of the stuff we had to do was like um, comp real world people into fake environments. That's what a part of compositing is. Either it's compositing different layers like smoke, light, color, and making it look like a fake object looks real, or a real object looks um, like it matches the fake environment, or you put in people. So you really have to like be good at green screen, and then compositing them in.
it's actually pretty sick? I I was wondering about that because Black Panther is one of my favorite Marvel movies. I love all the Marvel movies. I'm a big Marvel fanboy, but uh, no, I seen that you worked on it, and I wanted to ask about that because I didn't. I was curious to how what you worked on and what you did with that movie because that was interesting to see your name on there.
Yeah, it's also like some shots like they'll give you random shots throughout the movie for you to work on, and some shots like a 2 second scene you could be working on for 3 days. It's just a ton of work to do, um, and it's like you never really know where your shots are because you don't get to watch the entire movie. They just give you random chunks here and there. So it's like you only get to watch them all together when they're in the movie theater. And you're like, and people in visual effects, they're like, I worked on that. Oh, that's my scene. Oh, that's my scene. It's just like they just come out of nowhere and you're like, oh yeah, flashback. I spent 3 days on that shot. So it kind of ruins the movie for us, but it's nice to point out that you have shots in the movie.
That's kind of what I was gonna ask.
It's still
Does that ruin the movie for you guys when you're you know what went into producing that movie to what it is now?
Yes. It's so it's like if you're with other visual effects artists, that's great, but you can't really pay attention to the movie. You're trying to look at like how they um put them all together, or it's like like if you're with a bunch of other visual effects artists and you're just like, I worked on that, I worked on that. But if you're with someone who's not, you're like, stop pointing at these things. I was like, we get it, okay, we understand. But it's like yeah, so it's it when you worked on a movie, it does kind of ruin it because you're just picking out everything that could have been done better instead of actually relaxing and following along with it.
So with all that, what kind of tools do you use to stay organized? I'm just curious, like
Um,
digitally organized.
so we use at Frame Machine, we use Google Calendar for meetings and production calls. And then for gaming assets, we use software called ShotGrid. It used to be called Shotgun, to track all of our animation assets, and for each animator put their tasks and time on. And I remote in from home to a computer at the office. We've been not homeschooled. We've been work from home since the pandemic. So I remote into work and I have digital stickies on my computer at work for all my to-dos. Um, and yeah, being organized person just makes life so much easier. You don't spend time looking for things. So it's like if I'm not organized, that's like my memory. I have to see what I need to do. It's like I'm a super visual person. Cop car.
I was curious if you were like an Apple reminders guy or a sticky note guy. Like I'm an Apple reminders guy. Like I use that app like the
Yeah.
Bible. But yeah.
Going up, leading up to this bike ride, my Apple, like words. I have a reminders list right over here that's like it just gets bigger. And it's like my to-dos. And it's like I put them in order of like what I need to do today and then what is not so important and what's like a long-term thing. Um, Fire trucks. Yep. I'm a big Apple reminders fan as well.
It just sounds like you got GTA going in the background. It's all good.
Yeah, we're on the second floor, right beside like Sepulveda Boulevard. It's like a very busy road. It's not even a highway, but people will just like race down here all the time. And like, oh, it's the most efficient way to get from this side of town to that side of town. So you got ambulances and firefighters and police cars are always racing down here.
I see Fernando's in here.
Yeah, Fernando,
Is he
do you want to
talking?
give a quick intro to who you are, what you do? We've been kind of taking the spotlight, so if you want to speak, you're more than welcome to. If you have any questions.
If he's there.
I know he texted me. He said he was getting situated, so he might still be getting around.
Okay. He disappeared.
I would say he's not situated yet. Anyway, back to
I would
what's been your least liked project that you worked on?
Least like it's like when the client has no idea what they want. Um, so like for animators and when we deliver a project, like we have, I don't know, usually 2 deliveries a week. And when the client has no idea what they want, they just want to see it in front of their face before they make a decision. They'll say, well, we don't like that. And it's like, that took hours of work for someone to do. And then for them to come back and be like, nah, not that, something else. And I was like, they should have some idea of what they want. It's their game. I mean, they're still paying us, but like, I'm not a fan of redoing work. So it's like, it's just very annoying when clients have no idea what they want and they continually to change their mind, like sometimes in the process of a game that just got released. Yeah, we'll go with give you some background since it's out. So Hogwarts Legacy, they worked on that for 5 years before we even signed in to help. And in that project, sometimes we would do animation work, and they would go back and change like the script, like the very beginning step. And it's like that ripples all the way down to like now this entire scene has to change, and all of this work, animation, layout, and Unreal, and all this stuff has to be redone. And that the more it changes, the more work you got to redo. So it's like they spent a lot of time, I don't know, a lot of time making it good.
I haven't played it yet personally. I've looked at gameplay on it. I was kind of hoping to hear multiplayer availability for it.
Mhm.
I don't know if it's still. I haven't looked more into it since the launch, but if it does come out with multiplayer, I might be interested in playing it because I feel like it would be a cool game with the open world concept to actually be able to interact with other people, with other online players. And I really like those games where you actually can play open world with other people and all that stuff. And I just find those games really fun because you're not playing. I'm not a big fan of playing games by myself. Jared, you like RPGs, and personally, I'm not a fan of them. I don't, nothing against them or anything. I do. One RPG, if you want to call it an RPG, is Borderlands. I did get into that a lot. That was one of my favorite games growing up. But you could play with your friends on that too. So, but
So
yeah.
to clarify, I like multiplayer RPGs.
Okay, we're the same then. All right.
Like Destiny 2,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah.
open world sort of vibe.
I'm a big fan of that style game. I just find them I don't know. There's something different every time because you can make it your own way when you have other people to play with it. You don't have to follow a certain line or whatever.
It's cool. That makes
I
sense.
did play WoW for like 18 years. So
I used to play WoW too, so it's okay. My stepdad recently passed away. It's okay. Don't have to say sorry. But I've heard it enough. That's why. But he had a WoW character from when WoW first came out, and he still had it, and I got possession of it, and I am still trying to talk myself get into it because I don't want to ruin his character or his legacy that he's put into it. I just want it to be there. But my mom gave it to me and said, "You can do whatever you want with it. It's up to you." But I
That's
haven't
really cool.
decided.
I would not get into WoW though. Just a heads up.
It's a very, very, very deep rabbit hole.
I mean, I've played it before.
bit.
I know how it is. I know how it is, but I don't want to ruin his character that he's built and the stuff that he's done with it. I would feel terrible about it if I did something that I know he wouldn't do or whatnot. Because growing up, that's one of the two games. That's the game. Well, that game and Borderlands, which was one I noted, is one of the two games that we used to play together all the time. So I always found it sick that he played WoW, and he still played WoW until probably about a year and a half ago when he found out he had cancer. And then he just kept on going downhill and he just stopped playing. But it was super cool to see that my mom gave it to me. I was like, I don't know why you gave it to me, but okay.
That's cool.
I think I'm the opposite. Like I was playing Warcraft way back in the day, and then
Yep.
WoW came out, and I heard stories about people spending years of their life in that game, and I was like you said, Andrew, it's like a dark rabbit hole, and I was like, I can't get sucked into that because I know I will. So I've never played it, and I've tried to stay away from it.
Good for you.
Thank you.
Best decision you ever made.
Well, I see
I'm sure it's a
Fernando's
lot of
back
fun.
in here. Are you back, Fernando? Are you everything okay?
I think so.
Okay.
My computer decided to update in the middle of all this shit, so that was fun. Yeah.
So this is
Oh, what's up?
Fernando. Go ahead and introduce yourself if you'd like, what you do. Give us a little intro.
Sorry, I got me in the background. Go, baby. Go. Hi, my name's Fernando. I've been here for 9 years. I don't know. What do I say? What do I do? Like what I do for a living or what?
Whatever you want. Just tell us who you are.
Whatever you want to say.
Shit, I like to skateboard. My favorite color is between blue and green. And I'm a videographer at Sweetwater. I've been doing a lot of video work for a while now. I get to travel as well. I got to meet 21 Pilots. I got to meet Debbie Ryan. As part of like some of the work that I do. And I love what I do, I guess. That's pretty much it. And I love Andrew as well.
We all do.
As we should.
He's a
Alright.
pain sometimes, but we still love him.
I can be a pain all the time. Let's not. We'll not
Actually,
minimize that any. It's all the time.
I actually had an internship at Sweetwater.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
That's
As,
fucking awesome.
It was crazy because that was the internship that actually, out of all my background, that was the internship that got me this job at Frame Machine. Like
Dang.
shooting and editing. I was like 3
Yeah.
months of that. I was like, really? All this schooling you don't care about? I'm like, well, the background was great, but you know how to
Right.
edit, right? And I was like, 3 months. Yes.
Yeah, we've actually discovered with like some of the recent hires that like we've got a lot of kids straight out of like universities. Me personally, I didn't go to college. I just picked it up from YouTube, and thanks to Andrew here, I was given the whole Adobe suite and was able to really like go gung ho on everything. But all these college kids that we've had as of recently, man, like it really shows they don't have any experience with real world situations. So like I don't know what it is that they learned in college that they were supposed to implement at work, but they didn't because they don't know diddly squat, and they tend to just kind of have to learn, I guess, the same way anybody else would have to learn. So, yeah.
Makes sense.
We're seeing that a lot in our society where the college degree is becoming less and less important.
Yes.
It's more about
Well,
experience.
I kind of agree with that. Personally, I did not graduate high school. Everybody thinks I did, but I did not. I feel in my eyes that I'm successful in what I've done in my life. For instance, this is personal stuff, I guess, in a way, but my family, most of my siblings, everything, they have all graduated, and one of my siblings is doing better than me. That is perfectly fine. Or a couple of my siblings. I have 11 siblings, but in total, one or two of my siblings is doing about as equal as me. But there's still the ones that have graduated and have a bright future ahead of them if they just put their mind to it. That all they have to do is just push themselves, and they can get anywhere they want in life. It's just growing up, I didn't want to repeat the cycle that everybody, like every family, everybody who has kids is going to repeat, or alter a little bit, but in the same sense, it's pretty much the same. I've in my eyes, I've noticed that most families end up repeating the same cycle and over and over again. Sorry, I talk with my hands. But it's just, I just find it very. I wanted to break that cycle, and I wanted to be. My dad's a great dad. I love my dad more than anything in the world, and he's one of my biggest role models in my life. It's just there's things how I was raised that I won't repeat, but I will alter a tad bit to make it so it's better for my kid, because I want my kid to be able to have opportunities like potentially be a videographer or be a video editor or be a musician, be whatever she wants to be currently she loves singing, so if she wants to sing, she can sing her heart out. I don't mind, but it's just I just find it amazing that I didn't graduate. I have all this knowledge in my head, and I learn new things every day because I want to learn everything I can. For instance, building computers. I'd show you guys, but it's my camera sucks. So I just I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. It's just something that for me, I just like to learn, and I want to know everything I can and soak up as much as I can. I think it's part of my ADHD as well. So,
That's great.
but yeah, I have a lot of hobbies. For instance, one of those things on the over there, I have that hobby. For a little while I got into RC cars and learned everything I could about RC cars. Uh, Cars, obviously, computers, all the technology stuff. I just want to learn. I want to know everything I can, soak up as much as I can.
Yeah, like the industry tells you that you really need to be good at one thing. And I was like, when I'm good at one thing, it gets boring. So I was like you, I want to be good at everything. So like even like anything I can get my hands on, I want to be good at. It's just like um so I'm more of a generalist that way is what they call people in the industry. Just like I have all these skills, what do I do with them? Like I'm good at a lot of stuff. So it's like always learning and always improving is great.
Growing up, my grandpa called it his toolbox.
Yeah, yeah. Put another tool in your
So everything you learn is another tool in your toolbox. And I was like, that's kind of a cool way to think of it. I always just found it amazing for that. I was like, so I grow my I well for what Jared said earlier is 1% better every day. Yes, that is 100%. I try to put one more tool in my toolbox, if not a day, at least once a week. I'd say if I can learn something new, I can progress things that I can do for for the future of what I do. So I personally still trying to figure out exactly what all I want to do, but I'm working on it.
Takes
Me
time.
too.
Yep. I know like the current job I'm at, when they interviewed me, they asked me what I was good at, and I told them people management. So I told them I'm good with growing people and building people, and they put me in the job, and I excelled at operations. And they were like, "You told us you were good at people management." And I was like, "I didn't tell you I was good at both." So it's like they just keep throwing stuff at me, and I'm a learner like you, Kevin. I want to. So if I'm given a challenge, I just want to go out and research and just learn it. So I remind them like once a week that how good of a hire that I was.
I need a raise, I need a raise, I need a raise.
Yeah,
I say that a lot.
yeah, yeah.
Well, does anybody have any other questions? Gonna try to wrap it up here. We're hitting the 1 hour mark.
Yeah, dude, I never figured out how to turn my camera on. So
It's all good.
that's a question for later.
So I do have one quick question. Your job is very desirable. Like a lot of people from the outside looking in want your job. Can you give us a reason why they wouldn't?
The downsides. Think I also I mentioned before about the downsides about the video or the movie industry. As far as the gaming industry, um, I mean it's actually been pretty good. Um,
Like,
You
what's
heard
a typical
you heard that,
day for
everybody.
you?
It's good to make video games, so keep doing it. Don't quit.
Yeah. So what's like a
well,
typical day? Like you get up, I'm a coffee guy, get my coffee,
yep.
and then what do you do next?
So me when I'm working, get a cup of coffee in the morning. I'll log in, and I clock my time in. Then I'll look at what meetings we have for the day, and we always have like I don't know what it's called, a morning meeting just to get everyone on the same page, like the core team of production, um, and then people. It's like all the producers will be in that one meeting, and they'll have their own projects. So in the meeting, we all come together, and then everyone goes off to their own projects, and the producers basically manage, and then the production coordinators, we try and keep the animators busy throughout the day. Or I'll see, because I wear multiple hats, so it's like if I'm doing editing, or if I'm an Unreal Engine integration artist, or if I'm coordinating, I'll just see what people need, and I just kind of like flow from one area to the next. Like day to day is kind of interesting because I could be editing a video one day and then shipping files to a client the next day. So it just depends.
Very cool.
I do have one more question as well. Sorry, Rod.
Mhm.
Uh, uh, have you ever thought about like producing or making your own video game?
Uh,
Or
Now that I've been through the entire gaming process, like, I know of people who have made their own video game and they just spent years doing it in many late hours. But it takes a, a huge team of people to make the game any good. Like I'm a person who likes to have likes to make good things, and it's like me just by myself. There's no way it would be any good. It would take years. Um, but like, nope. I just love to play other people's games, and um, yeah.
I've always wanted to make my own game. I don't know what I'd want to do though. That's what my thing is. I'd get blocked on how I'd want to do it, and I'd be lost, and I'd just be like, oh, I give up for right now. I'll come back to it when I have more ideas.
Yeah, it all starts out with the idea, the vision, the script, the storyboard, and then figure out where you want to go from there.
Fernando, did you have any questions?
um, I mean, I have tons of questions, but I feel like they were answered as I was fiddling around with updates. um, what I probably missed out on is how old are you and how long have you been doing that?
So I'm 41 years young.
That's the keyword right there.
we
Yes,
we
I
corrected
was
him
advised.
earlier.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think I have like 11 years of schooling, just like random things like IT, and then I did 3D modeling animation. Then I went down to Orlando, and got like a um, compressed movie degree. So VFX in movies, and then I got my first job in the industry. So it's been like I've just been kind of through many areas, of like kind of the same thing. Like IT is linked to visual effects and 3D modeling and animation. Um, so it's like for anyone that's just starting out, let's see. for anyone that's just starting out, I would highly recommend you learn modeling, texturing, animation, and then there's the Dave School where I went in Orlando, Florida, the Digital Animation and Visual Effects School. There's a career services guy there, Michael Keith. He's an amazing guy, and he's helped tons of people get jobs in the industry. So if you want to figure out anything in life, talk to him. And like that was where like this one compressed program is just like he just burns it into you of like they have 2 degrees. They have a visual effects degree, and they also have a gaming degree. So if you look into that, just see what's required, and then just start modeling, start animating, and they will teach you everything from square one on the way up.
When did you realize that this is what you wanted to do? Was it 11 years ago? Was it prior to that? Somewhere in between?
So you missed out on a nice chunk where I was like, I went from and then I found out I had brain cancer.
That's a fat chunk. Holy shit.
Yeah.
That shit got dark, dude.
And then so ended up having surgery as they took out a tennis ball size, and then I was like, well, focusing on my health and what really matters, and like I don't know if I really want to do IT because you have to spend so many years in school, and I hate school even though I spent a lot of years in it. But so I decided I love watching behind the scenes in movies, so I was like, all right, I'll get into movies. What do I need to do that? And I was like 3D modeling animation, so I did that for 5 years, and I was like, I looked at my product, my end result, compared to what people are doing in the industry, and I was like, this sucks. I was like, I am bad. Motorcycle. And so I found the Dave School in Orlando, Florida, and they had a year program. It was like an 85% job placement at the time. And so I was like, nice. So I just need to go down there, spend a year there, and I get a job. And it was a very difficult year, but I ended up getting a job. That
Dang.
was 15 years ago.
I was gonna say it was probably right around when we met, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I left Fort Wayne, Indiana to go to the Dave School. 41, 5 years here, 2 years, 7, maybe 10 years ago.
I'm guessing digital art, visual effects for Dave.
Yes, digital animation and visual effects.
Oh, okay.
And it was kind of funny because there was a person that graduated before me and was going to go down there, and I was like, let me know if it's just a person named Dave sitting in his basement before I go down there and give him my money. They're actually on the back lot of Orlando Studios, so it's like you're inside the lot, and on breaks you can go out there and you can ride rides, and you have like it's like you're an employee. It's very fun.
Dang.
Awesome.
That is
Yep.
awesome.
Speaking,
Shit. Well, you look great for 40. So,
Thank
damn
you.
near sexy. So don't let nobody tell you otherwise. I thought you were around our age. So you fucking fooled me, man.
That's what people say. I've got good genes.
Speak,
yeah.
Speaking of rides, I have one question. Do you recall asking me if I wanted to learn how to drive? Because he's known me for a long time. He asked me if I wanted to learn how to drive stick on his Mustang. Do you recall that?
I
It was
don't,
like
but I'm
right
sure
when I first started learning how to drive. You're like, "Oh, it's okay. You can learn how to drive on my Mustang." And I'm like, no.
the thing with that is like I could teach people. They could be in the passenger seat, and I was like, I just hold on to the clutch so you don't mess anything up. I was like, you just move it around. If you don't move into the right spot, we won't go anywhere.
I passed up on that offer. I didn't want to. I was like, I don't want to screw up your car.
I taught somebody how to drive a manual, or my S10 I had in high school. It was a manual. I hung out the driver's side door and was pointing at thing in the parking lot at the school, pointing at the pedals, saying what she needed to do to learn how to drive. And she ended up getting it while I was hanging out of the door. I was just
Wow.
like, it was pretty cool. It was a great compliment for me because I thought it was sick. Because I was like, I taught somebody how to drive a stick.
Yeah, that's a rare thing nowadays.
It is. It is.
They don't even make them anymore, really. You have to special order them.
Actually, yeah, you have to special order them. Toyota actually just launched at the beginning of the year a new the Supra, the revamped of the Supra that is actually they actually have a 6-speed in it now. But you do have to special order it. But I'm pretty sure Chevy's not going to be making manual transmissions anymore. They're all going to be the electronic paddle shifts and stuff like that.
That's sad.
Which I find it kind of sucks because the era of muscle cars is over in my eyes because of that. Well, they ruined the Corvette already, but I could get into cars, but this isn't what this channel's about.
Not this week. Maybe another week or another episode.
I mean, I'm open to do this whenever you guys want. I'm perfectly fine with that. But
All right. Well, I think that we pretty much hit a lot of the big questions that we wanted to ask. One of the things that we had that we wanted to kind of chat about real quick was Counter-Strike 2. They released the beta version of it. They didn't release the game like we thought was going to happen, but have any of you guys gotten the chance to see anything, watch any commentary, gameplay, anything like that?
I actually have not looked too much in it. I would kind of want to be surprised.
Okay.
I am looking at a page right now. But looking at the graphic improvements of the game, I am very impressed just by looking at the pictures that I'm seeing. Like I said, I'm not going to get too much into the gameplay of it because I don't want to ruin it for me. I want to feel that's kind of how I am when it comes to newer games. I like to feel I don't like watching all the new stuff on it. I want to actually see it in first person, like me playing it, because it gives a better experience to me.
So I have
Like
somebody who works with me who's really into Counter-Strike, and he's really concerned about the anti-cheat still. He's saying that he was in the alpha or the beta or something, and there was somebody cheating in the beta, and then he asked him how he got in the beta, and he's like, well, I hacked the game to get in the beta. So that's a little concerning. Like, I think Counter-Strike's great with friends, like great with like a group of people aren't gonna just cheat, but on a just a multiplayer server, like that's why I've kind of shied away from it.
I haven't really gotten into the shooter stuff, but for the first time, Rod has gotten me into this, and my buddy Austin has gotten me into this, where I actually, for the first time, want to play for rank. I've never tried playing for rank, but I'm actually trying now, and it's different. So I'm trying.
I appreciate my accessories and peripherals too much to try to play for ranked anything. I break them when I get mad.
This thing wasn't cheap, but I won't break this, but I definitely will break my $45 mouse. I am not scared to break that. I'm afraid I'll break a monitor, which one of our friends have done before.
That wasn't out of anger though. That was just because he had too many to drink.
It was still funny. Rod got it on camera. Rod got it on recorded.
I had it on recording, but yes.
Oh.
I sacrificed probably 3 or 4 keyboards to League of Legends back in the day.
I have never gotten to League. I never got into League.
That's good. That's good. I wouldn't.
I don't plan on it. Don't worry. I can't. I'm not. I don't know. There's just something about it. I just don't like it. I don't know.
Kevin, do you have a game that makes you rage when you play it?
I feel like in games like Call of Duty, oh man, if you're not doing good, but when you're doing good, you're like, yeah, it's just enough to keep your keep going, and it's just like every other game is rage. Oh, where did you? I don't know. It's horrible. It's horrible, but I love it.
You get that one sweet hit of dopamine. And
Yep.
it just keeps you playing.
Gives me another 3 games.
Yep.
No, the one thing I hate is when you're playing a game and then out of nowhere somebody just pops up behind you and you couldn't hear anything, you couldn't see anything. They just you turn a corner, he's right there, or you literally turn around and the guy's right there, and you just or you turn around for 1 second and then turn back and the guy's right there and he kills you, and you're like, dang.
Usually they're 10
That
years old.
Yeah, usually they're 10 years old.
That's the worst.
And they've done
They
some
get on the mic and call you some dirty names.
Done some very nefarious things with my mom apparently too.
Yeah.
You do get that.
All right, well, I think that's about it. If anybody has any last things they want to say, definitely want to thank Kevin for stopping in and chatting with us and giving us a little insight on the industry. And so if anybody has anything, and chat, if you have any questions, feel free.
Yes, thanks for your valuable time. I know it's valuable.
No problem. It was like when I get back, let me know if you guys want to hop on again.
And I'm going to share the Hope Ride
I'd say heck yeah
site in here, just so people have it. Feel free to hop on the hoperide2.com and donate. You can kind of read Kevin's story a little bit, and I'm excited to see the progress and see the updates on social media as you're biking next month through California.
Yeah.
How on a level from 1 to 10, how excited are you? Are you excited, or are you just kind of nervous?
I try never to get excited until I'm actually like on the way there. So like just 1,000 tasks to do before I leave. But it's like once I'm driving, I'm like, okay, I can relax. But then, I get excited. Like when I don't have anything else to do and all the tasks are done, I was like, okay, now I can finally let myself be excited. So not
I
yet.
couldn't imagine biking that long. Like I've started to cycle recently in the past year, and like I'm stoked when I hit 20 miles. So I'm like
when I was
1,300 miles, like that is just terrifying to me.
when I was a kid, I would ride my bike from Butler, Indiana, all the way to Garrett, and then back to Butler. So I could do it. I was proud when I did it. I felt like crap when I got home and I just wanted to go to bed. But it was now I feel like if I got on a bike, I probably wouldn't even be able to make it to the gas station from my house.
I can make it to the end of the driveway. Mine's the end of the driveway and back.
We can't even make it out of the driveway.
It's tough coming back because it's uphill when I come back.
Yeah.
Are you cheat?
Yeah, I'm just gonna drive me. And I was like, I'm gonna hop on a bike, and then I'm like, all right, drive me to the next stop. We're gonna go to the pool and have some sushi.
Nice.
Just hop on an e-bike and just
hit the gas pedal.
Yep, just go.
You leave the electric part for the hills going up, right? You just you coast down and then the electric up.
Yep. I actually tell people if they want to come out and ride with me. Like a bunch of friends from LA are gonna be hopping out to ride with me. And I was like, you don't need to just get an electric bike. Like I don't care. I'm the one that has to pedal. I was like, you guys just relax. Do what you want.
That'd be really cool. I'm excited. Like I said, I'm excited to see the updates on social media, and you can feel free to check him out. It's the Hope Ride 2 on Instagram, right? Is that right?
At the Hope Ride on Instagram and Facebook.
So feel free to check it out.
Hope Ride on Instagram. Yep. Awesome.
And he has his updates on there, and I'm sure he'll probably post more as he journeys through. I'm not sure. I know I saw something about you have your key dates that you have on the calendar. I was kind of watching that, so I'm just excited to see. I know I watched a little bit when you did the last one. It was the big one. I'm excited to see the California one because California is a beautiful state. It's got a beautiful seaside. So
Been 10 years since the last one. I was like, oh, I don't know. It's definitely not going to be easy, but yeah, I'll be posting along the way. And the calendar thing you're looking at, it's like me and the wife, Lucia, we just put that out yesterday, and it's for anyone who has gone through cancer or battled with cancer or knows of someone who's gone through cancer. If they want to sponsor a day, we'll get your story and some pictures, and we'll post them, and I'll be peddling for you that day.
That's awesome.
all right, well,
All I have to say is be careful.
I get that a lot. I appreciate it.
all right. Well, I think
Definitely if you're driving down roads. But yeah, I'll let Rod say what he's got to say.
somebody else was going to chime in too. If you want to, go ahead.
I was gonna say I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, I was
And
just gonna
always-
say again, appreciate you, taking the time to hop in here. I know your schedule is very busy, and you've been planning this for months now. So I hope it's a success, and I hope that a lot of people, like for me personally, I know your story, so it's awesome to get that story out there, and I'm excited to be a part of being able to share that with others to further that.
Really appreciate that. It's nice catching up.
Yeah, for
It's been a
sure.
while.
It has been a long time. All right. Well, I think we're
Alrighty.
gonna go ahead and end the stream here. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out, and I can get questions to Kevin, and we can try to answer those questions at a later date. But other than that, you guys all have a good night. I appreciate everybody for stopping in. Chat, thanks for coming and watching and hanging out. And we'll catch you guys on the next one.